Hello, hello. It is another new moon. Here we are, new moon in Scorpio. It is November 16th. As I make this video, the new moon was actually yesterday, but here we are making a video today because that just seems to be how the schedule is flowing. So I'm going to cut some cards. We're just going to dive right in. Time is precious these days, so we are going to just dive right into our reading together. I am using the OSHO Zen Tarot deck. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck. One for, I'm looking at my notes, one for the collective now, what's happening collectively for all of us. One for the individual now, when we take the collective and bring it all the way down to the individual level, what is our individual message? And then one for the highest possibilities for this next lunar cycle. So from this new moon until the next new moon, which I believe will be the last one in 2020. Like, wow. I cannot believe that this year is almost over. And then I will pull a couple cards from separate decks for messages from our guides to help us through this next lunar cycle. All right, we're going to do, what are we going to do? We're just going to do the top 3 cards for individual, collective, and then highest possibilities. Ready? All right, the collective now. This damn card. This card keeps coming up. Have we not learned the lessons yet? Are you serious? We have to talk about this card again. All right, we're going to talk about this card. The highest form of love is compassion. Clearly, that is our message for right now. Damn card. Okay, the next one. This is for the individual now. What is it that we individually can learn from this? So beautiful. Possibilities, the ego looking down from up above. Amazing. Amazing. And then the highest possibilities for the next lunar cycle. Morality. There's going to be a lot of swearing in this video. Shit. This is the highest possibilities. This seems to be a summary of 2020. All right. We're going to take what the cards are dealing us, and we're going to look for some wisdom. Doesn't it feel like we're playing the same old tune? Like, seriously, that's what I feel. I'm going to pull my chair a little closer here as we settle in together. It's the same old stuff coming up again and again for clearing. So, all right, friends, here we go. Collective now. In case you've missed it, in some of my older videos, I've talked about this card before, but just in case you need a summary, let me tell you again. It is coming up for a reason. So this card talks about lovers, and if you see here, it's 2 people that are looking at each other, and then there's this sort of grid in the middle. And then there's these 2 people that are like enmeshed and wrapped up in each other in this little red heart. Remember I said, it's like the little hearts that you put when you like something on social media. Heart. It's like that. But it has these wings that are coming out of it. So there's this lowest level of love, which is called sex. That's what Osho says, which means we connect to each other at this very base, fundamental, physical level. And then you can add meditation and you raise the vibration of love. So it goes from sex to like something that is more contemplative, connected, perhaps third eye to third eye, understanding, seeing the other. So it's more of a rising in consciousness in the relationship between 2 people. Notice these are not any specific gender. They're just individuals having a connection. And then above that is this highest level of love, which Osho calls compassion, Zen calls compassion. And that's where we realize we're all actually part of the same oneness, the same energy field of connectedness. And we're not even separate. We're not even 2 enmeshed or separate. We're not even that. We're just this one universal field of energy. And so we have all the colors of the rainbow, all of the energies in us, around us, through us. We are this oneness. And he calls that compassion. Compassion. So perhaps once again, I will read to us what this whole thing about compassion really is, because apparently, according to the cards, we are not getting it. So they want to show us again. All right, so the Lover's card, number 14, page 14, not number 14. Let me read to you. I'm going to skip. I'm going to skip the lower parts, and we're going to go right to that compassion part. We're going to talk about that. All right, let's see what he says. All right, Buddha has defined compassion as love plus meditation. When your love is not just a desire for the other, when your love is not only a need, when your love is a sharing, when your love is not that of a beggar, but of an emperor, when your love is not asking for something in return, but is ready only to give for the sheer joy of giving, then add meditation to it, and the pure fragrance is released. That is compassion. Compassion is the highest phenomenon. And then he talks about what we call love is really a whole spectrum of relating, reaching from the earth to the sky. At the most earthy level, love is sexual attraction. Many of us remain stuck there because our conditioning has burdened our sexuality with all kinds of expectations and repressions. Actually, the biggest problem with sexual love is that it never lasts. Only if we accept this fact can we then really celebrate it for what it is, welcome its happening, and say goodbye with gratitude when it's not. Then as we mature, we can begin to experience the love that exists beyond sexuality and honors the unique individuality of the other. We begin to understand that our partner often functions as a mirror, reflecting unseen aspects of our deeper self and supporting us to become whole. This love is based in freedom, not expectation or need. Its wings take us higher and higher towards the universal love that experiences all as one. So it's interesting, as I was reading that, I was thinking, this is the collective card. This isn't the individual, like me relating to another. This is what the collective humanity is experiencing. And so perhaps that is an elevation for us. No, back to July. That's when we had this card. I mean, we've had it before then, but we had it in July. So whatever was happening in July in your journey, at a collective level, apparently it is coming up again now for us in November. Yeah, I guess it's like an invitation to evaluate how far have we come as a humanity since July. Remember what was happening in July and what we were learning about COVID, what we were experiencing about the changes in the way we all relate to each other. And now here we are at November and our 2020 is almost over. Like, how far have we come? And are we actually playing at a collective level more and more in this compassionate space? I don't know if that's happening. I feel like there maybe are pockets where compassion is the focus and compassion is where communication is occurring. Maybe we've elevated more from this enmeshedness to like a little bit of the ability to see the other with some detachment, with some separation, with more respect and kindness. But are we up here? You know, I don't know that we are. And so perhaps this card is guiding us collectively towards the highest possibilities, even though I know it's the card for the collective. Maybe it's guiding us towards more and more compassion for the other. I think here in the United States, since we had our elections, you know, the fear is that we went into the elections very polarized. And have we come out of the elections any better? Are we still as polarized? And I guess maybe it's maybe this is also an opportunity to change the word. So if the word we've been using in the United States is polarized, separate, far away, perhaps we could switch the word and just say more detached, more able to see the other very clearly as we are. And maybe somewhere in that seeing each other, looking at the mirrors that we each hold for each other, maybe that ability to see each other will raise our vibration up to a more compassionate place. Because in compassion, we can find unity. In compassion, we can find a harmonious space. I do believe that. I don't know how, but I know it's possible. So maybe we begin here, and maybe this card is saying, look, back in July, you were still kind of down here. And the collective is raising its frequency, and maybe we can move from this to this. Feels hopeful to consider that, right? Which leads me to the individual. The individual possibilities. So look at what's happening in this card. There's so much going on. So at the top, I believe you can see it, there's an eagle that's flying with its wings spread and it's looking down at the ground, but the ground is so far below. Like these are trees. These are trees down here. So you can't even see what little animals might be, you know, hiding down there for the eagle to find, but it's actually, he's not looking down. It's like he's looking to the side. That's this part of his body here. But there's this beautiful sun that's coming up over the horizon. I mean, maybe for you it's going down. For me, it looks like it's coming, it's rising up. And the message of this card is that when you see from a higher perspective, when you raise your view and look down at the horizon from a different vantage point, everything looks different. You're able to see new possibilities that you couldn't see when you were down on the ground. Like if you think about, there may be a farmer that's walking around, you know, down here and trying to figure out what to do with the fields and putting some seeds in. From down here, the farmer can only see what's right around, or what he can see or she can see looking up at the horizon. But if the farmer was up here with the eagle, he or she would be able to see all the lands, the ways that the water run down to the fields or don't run down to the fields, where the shadows would be coming for and from the sun. The farmer would be able to see everything differently from this perspective up here. And that's the message of the card. It says you can expand all of your possibilities when you raise yourself up high on eagle's wings. Isn't that a beautiful song? What's amazing to me is I just did a meditation. I think it was 2 weeks ago. I think it was my Sunday call 2 weeks ago. And it was all about this exact idea, which is, you know, we feel like we're being sort of tugged, many of us. We want to go this way and we want to go this way. Or maybe we're in the group that wants to go this way, but we really love also the group that wants to go this way. And so there's this pulling apart, this feeling of being stretched and the tug of war. You don't know which way you're going to go. And I said, what if we could raise our frequency, raise our vision, and come up here like a bird, like an eagle, and see the game for what it is, the tug of war that's happening down here? What would that eagle do? And I said, maybe that eagle would come down and like snip the rope in half, and then everybody would fall down, right? Everyone would just fall to the ground, and there would be this laughter, because what was all that we were doing? What was the silly game that we were playing down here called tug of war? The ego would just end that, and then everyone's perspective would shift. So maybe if we individually, because this is the card for the individual now, what's happening, what's possible right now. Maybe if we individually could elevate our perspective and see this human experience from a higher lens, not down here in the weeds and the grinding of what has to be done each day in the ways that we've known to do it. If we could elevate and look down on the view You know, what might we say? What might we say about these two? About these two that are relating? If we're flying way up here, my cards are like doing a little play. The eagle's flying way up here. It's not going to see these two the same way that they see each other looking right here at each other. It's going to be a whole different perspective. And so new possibilities open up. So perhaps today, tomorrow, this week, you elevate, you raise your vision, you look at situations from a different lens, you pull back and scan the landscape to see if you see things differently, instead of just looking at that one little thing that you've always looked at in the way that you've looked at it. Which leads me to the highest possibilities for this next lunar cycle: morality. I'm going to have to read this card. I mean, I know what it means because I've read it many times. I have pulled this card very often in my own journey, but in this moment, I'm like, this is the highest possibilities? Morality? That doesn't feel like the very best of the best that we could do. It's so funny. I'm just going to say this from a political standpoint. I don't know how many times I've heard Americans, many I know, even those from other countries, say to me, really? Those two candidates for president were the best that you had in the United States? And I had to agree. I'm like, the best of every single, we had what, 75 and 70 million Americans vote. Even if it's just from the ones who want to participate in the election process, 150 million people, and those two were the best that we had. I don't know. I don't know. Here's what the morality card says. This is the highest possibilities for our next lunar cycle. So from now for the next month. I'm going to try to say this word, and I hope I don't say it incorrectly. Bodhidharma far transcends moralists, Puritans, so-called good people, do-gooders. He has touched the very rock bottom of the problem. Unless awareness arises in you, all your morality is bogus. All your culture is simply a thin layer which can be destroyed by anybody. But once your morality has come out of your awareness, not out of a certain discipline, then it is a totally different matter. Then you will respond in every situation out of your awareness, and whatever you do will be good. Awareness cannot do anything that is bad. That is the ultimate beauty of awareness, that anything that comes out of it is simply beautiful, is simply right, and without any effort and without any practice. So rather than cutting the leaves and the branches, cut the root. And to cut the root, there is no other method than a single method, the method of being alert, of being aware, of being conscious, which to me means being present, being fully present in the body, in the mind, in the soul, in this human journey. Here's the commentary. Morality has restricted all the juice and energy of life to the narrow confines of her mind. It can't flow there. So she really has become a dried up old prune. Her whole manner is very proper and stiff and severe, and she is always ready to see every situation as black and white, like the jewel that she wears around her neck. The Queen of Clouds lurks in the minds of all of us who have been brought up with rigid ideas of good and bad, sinful and virtuous, acceptable and unacceptable, moral and immoral. It's important to remember that all these judgments of the mind are just products of our conditioning. And whether our judgments are applied to ourselves or to others, they keep us from experiencing the beauty and the godliness that lies within. Only when we break through the cage of our conditioning and reach the truth of our own hearts can we begin to see life as it really is. Wow. I think Zen knows exactly what to say. I mean, aren't we all doing this right now? It's like everyone sees, this is a very general statement. So many people seem to see everything within this box, this right and wrong, your way, my way, and my way is right and your way is wrong. You know, it's so limiting, and nobody seems very happy with all of this judgment that we're throwing and projecting around. A dried up old prune. So what do we do? You know, what are the highest possibilities? To me, it feels like you start to break out of that conditioning box. You come into the heart chakra, and start to feel what's actually happening inside the heart. I just did the new moon meditation. I didn't know what the cards were going to be when I did the meditation, because I just pulled these right now. But the meditation was 30 minutes of truly like guiding us into the heart and feeling what's happening inside of here. And when we're afraid of it, when we feel like the heart chakra has all these wounds and scars and lashes, and it's protected and buffered, and we want to keep it safe and make sure we don't get hurt again, or you know, make sure people don't surprise us again, or you know, there's all of this like guardedness. It's exactly this. When we see things from a new perspective and we expand the possibilities and we spread our wings. You think of the wings are like the arms. It's an extension of the heart chakra. So you take your heart and you start to open it, and you start to find your balance and wiggle some of that stuckness around. And what happens is the heart starts to wake up. The heart starts to feel things again. And what I was guiding in the meditation is what's underneath all of the stories and the boxes and the barricades and the locking. What's underneath all of that? When we go down to like the tender, soft little place at the center of our heart chakra, what's actually sitting there? And I feel like what sits there is this compassion, this unity, this energy of we're all from the same original something, light, life, breath, God, source. Like everything came from one original thing, and that sits at the center of each human, of each soul. So if we sort through all the stuff that's choking us, the stuff that's got us all barricaded, and we go all the way back down to what's here, what's down at the core. And we touch that and we feel that inside of our hearts, and we allow that to start to breathe and expand, and we feel like the spaciousness that comes when you're not afraid, when you're not rejecting everything that comes towards you in case it might hurt you again, when we just start to like do that. Does that make you feel a little like, Yeah, people say that a lot to me. They're like, oh God, not so much love. don't. It's too much. But it isn't. Like, feel what it feels like just for you. Just do this with me right now if you want. Like, just open your arms and spread your eagle wings and feel like what happens in here. Right? You can actually breathe. You can breathe, and it might bring up some stuff. That's what I said in the meditation. Like, you might cry a little or a lot. You might cough, you might yawn, you might be like, like what's happening? But when you relax your body and you lean back, I believe we're like this eagle energetically. It becomes just this movement of flowing with the wind. The wind is spirit, the wind is source. It's this universal life force. And when we just start to trust that and we're flowing with that energy, it's going to carry us into the most incredible, magnificent experiences. But we're going to miss all of that if we just sit here like this. This person isn't flying anywhere. There's not a lot of fun happening in this space. There's a whole lot of fun happening in this space. And I'm not saying you have to do one or the other. I'm simply naming the energy so that when you feel that tightness, right, inside of your chest and your instinct is to do this, perhaps just try that. Try it for 10 seconds. Try it for 30 seconds. Try it for a couple minutes. Lay on the ground. Have you ever laid in Shavasana? It's just this beautiful laying on the ground. This is the yoga position. You lay on the ground. You put your arms out and you lay on the ground, and that's all you have to do. And there's a title for it. It's called Shavasana, and it's usually at the end of the yoga series. So you've worn your body out, you've stretched and pushed and moved all this energy, and then you just lay on the ground with your heart open to the universe, your arms out at your side, the earth at your back, and you just breathe. That's a yoga position too. It's the final yoga position in lots and lots of series of yoga positions. So if you feel like you've been working through all this and it's like, how many more times do I have to see this card? How many more times do I have to hear this message? What is this year of 2020? Like, what? Enough. Just lay on the ground in Shavasana. You've been doing all the work. Just lay on the ground and rest. Put on your favorite music or put on one of my playlists. I've got all these amazing playlists on Spotify filled with all these awesome, relaxing, beautiful pieces of music. Just lay there and feel your heart chakra. You don't even have to do the meditation. The playlist, that's the word. The playlist that I created to go along with the meditation is on my Spotify account, and it's called New Moon in Scorpio, I think is what it's called. No, I think it's called New Moon in Scorpio, November 2020. But it's 4 songs, and you can just lay there. It'll take you 30 minutes. You don't even have to listen to my voice or anybody's voice. Just lay there in Shavasana and like feel the music. It will help you unravel, unlock some of these boxes, let go of some of the self-judgment and the projected out at others' judgment, and perhaps raise you up on eagle's wings, raise you to a feeling of maybe there's a new possibility that you haven't allowed yet. That's Scorpio energy. Scorpio is this death and then transformation, a rising up like the phoenix, rising up out of the ashes, something new coming forward that you may have never even known was possible. What if underneath all of this, and you let it die, you let it go, you lay in Shavasana, and then this new expression births out of your heart chakra, right? Like, how beautiful is that? So, some messages from our guides, perhaps. Would you like that? All right, let's pick 2 cards. If I haven't said it enough recently, drink more water. The world is dehydrated right now. Drink more water. Okay, 2 cards. 2 cards. The first one is from the Light Seers Tarot deck. Big shout out again to Santero YouTube channel. If you're not currently watching her, for sure watch her. And then also my friend Lauren B over at Untitled Tarot. They both use both of these decks. Light Seers Tarot. Okay, so So what are we going to pick for this one? We are looking for wisdom from our guides. I'm just going to take the top card. I've already, well, that doesn't feel right because you don't know if I've shuffled or not. I've shuffled, but I'm going to break the deck a couple times. I feel like I have to prove to you, like, I don't know. I don't know what card it's going to be. It's from our guides. It's not from me. I mean, it comes through me, right? Isn't that what our guides do? It comes through me, but it is definitely from a higher realm. All right, top card. People. I couldn't have come up with this. What is the card? Judgment. Release the judgments. And then it's card number 20. Our guides are like, come on, 2020. Have you done this yet? Have you released all this shit so that you can become this beautiful being of light? Let it go. Let it go. This is Shavasana. I mean, her version of it, right? Shavasana is I just surrender. And from that surrender, I open up these new possibilities, these new ways of being. And look at how closed in she is in the human expression, right? Like doing this. And look at what her soul, her consciousness is, wide open to the divine. Isn't that incredible? Full surrender. From our guides, I'm just saying they know what they're doing. They have a very clear message for you. And let me just say, these videos are as much for me as they are for anybody else. I make them for myself so that my soul can give me a little tap on the head and on the shoulder and often a kick in the ass. I don't know why we want to swear so much, but it just feels really good. Scorpio energy, that's why. Scorpio's got that little bit of badass, you know, like I'm going to do what I want to do and the way that I want to do it. And you're just going to have to watch me do that. Sometimes my soul clearly wants to give me a message. And I find that when I am committed to doing a video and I sit here and say these things, when I watch it later, my soul is clearly saying to me, are you listening? Did you get it yet? So that's what's happening right here and right now. And you just get to participate in the fun with me. Okay, this is a message from our guides. I can feel their playfulness, their sassiness as they are talking through me and with me right now, and they won't let me stop doing this card thing. So stop right here. Soul retrieval. Okay, this is funny because I have this thing about soul retrieval. So I guess that's why they're bringing it up, so that I can name this thing I have about soul retrievals. Here's what I believe. I don't believe we have to go retrieve our soul, because our soul is always connected. And so it's never divided or separated or lost from itself. In my opinion, it's like wherever we are, in whatever place in consciousness, whatever planet, whatever thought form, whatever body, the soul is always connected to the infinite soul. All the little parts that are running around doing things are always connected to the wholeness of the individual soul. And that soul is always connected to all souls, to all consciousness, to the original source of everything. So we never really can get lost. So we don't ever really need to get retrieved. Does that make sense? It's like we're just off having this adventure, and then this adventure, and then this adventure. And when it's the right moment, the adventures will all come back together again. And so there's nothing to retrieve. It's just like, I don't know, storylines, you know, and then that storyline merges with another storyline. But I feel like this card often is interpreted as there's a part of myself that is lost and I have to go find that part of myself. And until I do that, I'm not in a good place. There's something wrong or flawed with me until I go find that part of myself. And I guess it just doesn't feel true to me. I feel like we always know. I always know. all souls always know where the rest of the soul is because it's having some adventure somewhere, and it's all being tracked by our own soul. So we'll just call that part back when we're ready for it. And it's not a retrieval in the sense of, I think you know what I'm saying. If you don't, email me, we'll clarify it. But let's see what the mystical shamans have to say. Maybe my interpretation of it was wrong, because I don't know if I've read this from their book yet. I just know what I've experienced when I hear other people talk about it. Okay, wisdom from our guides. Here's what it says. Yeah, that's how they say it. Soul retrieval is a practice that helps you recover a part of yourself, your energy, your enthusiasm, or your innocence that you have lost. I don't agree with that. At first, we'll use soul retrieval to recover from our hurts and heal our childhood wounds. Later, we learn to journey to recover our original nature, that self that never left the Garden of Eden, who still speaks to the rivers, to the trees, and to God. When we return to Eden, we are whole again. The invitation. You are no longer fragmented. You are one with creation. You have healed the cause of the pain you feel, so you do not need to dwell on it any longer. Really, it's true. If you are still hovering over an old wound, find a new flight path. Don't be distracted with the little stuff you've already mastered. Go for the big one, the journey back to Eden. And then the medicine, it says, when did you compromise what you truly believed in to be loved or accepted by someone? Think back over your life and find the time or times when this happened. Vow never to compromise your integrity again. What have you agreed to in the name of love that you know is deeply wrong? Make it right this instant. So maybe we see it sort of similarly, like, here's the word I use. I use the word remembering. Maybe that's the difference. I use the word remembering. So I believe we agree when we come to Earth to forget a lot of stuff. So the soul knows a lot. And then we come into this earthly plane, and in order to experience emotions and have relationships and create new things, we agree to forget that we already know everything or a lot of everything. And so when we start to remember, it's like inside of us and we already know it. And so when we remember it, we're like, oh yeah, of course. And then it takes us down this path and we remember and remember more things. I feel like I would slightly change this to soul remembering, not retrieving, because it's not lost. It's not lost. And it's only forgotten because we agreed to forget, because that was part of the game of being a soul in a human body. But when we start to remember, it's already inside of us. There's nothing separate. There's nothing lost. There's nothing we have to go find because it was taken away or we gave it away. It's just all these lessons and learnings, and then we remember and we remember and we remember something else, and all of a sudden there's like this flush of everything that we're remembering, but it all came from maybe that heart chakra. Remember that place I was saying that sits at the very core of our heart chakra, and we're supposed to like unlock all this stuff so we can get back to that place? What if we call it a soul remembering? Isn't that cool? And I feel like I have to name this because I just saw it. This is card number 49, and I am in the last couple of months of my 49th year, which is so exciting to me because I really can't wait to be 50. I am so excited to be 50. And when I think of all the things I've remembered about my soul, all the things I've remembered about the possibilities, about this, like the hologram inside of me of who I am, when I think of all that I've remembered, it's so amazing. And I know there's more. I know there's more to remember. And so when I look at this card, I mean, we didn't even talk about the image of the card. My guides have a lot to say right now. I thought this was going to be a 1-minute little part, and they're like, there's a lot here. look at all of these beautiful elements that make up this being. I can't tell if it's like, it looks kind of like a bee or a butterfly or a dragonfly. Maybe if I turn it that way. Do you see how it's got like wings and a little head and some antenna and then this little like body? And then there's this huge like butterfly wing or something magnificent. But this is all sort of dissolving and this is all more clarified. But it's like it had to come here to find it. And I guess that's the part I just don't quite agree with. Maybe it's like it had to tap this whole energy, this oneness, the compassion that sits here in the center of ourselves. And when it touches that, it's like everything just lights up and all of these beautiful parts and pieces can come into this being. And it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. Yeah. So I would call it soul remembering. And yeah, I'm just going to say this too, like my latest offering, the work that I am totally thrilled about, excited about, that I'm doing right now is this journey that I am walking people through, a very small group of people, and it's called Remembering Together. And we do this. We do this. We have energy sessions, and I find in your memory these little parts of who you are and show them to you and remind you, and then you remember, and then all of these beautiful elements start to come forward and you remember. And what's awesome is I remember more as I do that too. And so these sessions that are happening and remembering together are so fun. So good. So good. And we all just keep releasing this shit and opening up more of this. And it's so blissful. It's so beautiful. I feel like I play up here in my energy work and I show people like this. And I get paid to do that. It's the most incredible thing. Like sometimes I sit back and I look at what I've created and I look at my life and I'm like, wow, I'm so brilliant. I'm so brilliant. How did I come up with this? But it's not like, this is what I would have thought my life could look like, a very boxed in, rigid expression. And meditation elevated me. And then being with more and more people who see me and play in this way with me just continues to elevate. And I get to play up here more and more. And it's the most incredible life. It's the most incredible life. And so when I tap into 2020 wrapping up and I feel like, you know, what's 2021 going to look like? And how does it get better? What is it that's going to be created that I don't even know about yet? Right? It's this card. What's the new possibilities that I haven't even allowed myself to imagine yet? And it's like there aren't words. There aren't words. All I feel is just this like, yay. So I don't know. It's pretty cool. Oh, my guides are cracking up. They're like, you look like a fool right now, but a very, very happy fool. Okay, so those are the cards. Yeah, one more time. Collectively, keep elevating towards compassion. Find more and more people that you can meet in this sort of meditative space with, meaning I see you, I appreciate you, I honor you, I don't have to change you or fix you. And then play up here in your own time as much as you can. And then let's see if we can all elevate. For your own work, raise your perspective, look higher, look from a different vantage point and see what changes in the landscape. And please, by God, open your heart chakra. Don't stay here because it's no fun. How do you open your heart chakra? Let go of judgment. For yourself and for others. Lean back, Open your heart, open your arms, sit with it, feel it. And then remember how brilliant you are. It's all already inside of you. Just remember. Okay, till next time.